Okay. I'm going to call a meeting to order for April 27th, 2022. Our first agenda item is open forum at 7 o'clock. Commission members have something for open forum? Nobody?
Just, Matt, have you had a chance to check with Fala about those drip hoses?
I have not had a chance to check with Follow, but I will
Okay,
make
yeah, if
sure.
you can just reach out to
And
her.
I know she is planning on planting shortly her goal was to be planting in May, having stuff turned over and start planting. So we'll,
Yeah, well, where these are, once I saw them, it was like, well, maybe they weren't hers, maybe they were left over from somebody else. So if they're not hers, we can stop bugging her.
yeah, I will certainly reach out and get an answer.
Okay, thank you.
What do you got for open forum?
Town election is May 3rd. Just want to put it out there.
At the high school and at Stony Brook.
Yeah,
Yes.
just two places.
That is
now.
correct. One has 4, the high school has 4 precincts,
Where are you located?
Stony Brook.
and so am I.
There's now 7 precincts in town, so you may be in a new precinct, you may not.
Yeah.
But everybody got a postcard in town, and if they didn't,
So,
they should.
so when you go in, they still have the precincts separated within the polling
Yeah, there'll be
place?
numbers and
Oh, you
signs.
can't miss it. You
Can't miss it? Oh, okay. Very good. So, and nothing else?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. Anything for open forum from the audience? Okay, seeing them, we'll go to our first agenda item, which is a request for certificate of compliance, 334-1781, Thon Bixby Lane. Come on up.
Actually, I have your name wrong. I was confusing you with Nathan.
Wait.
Are you Nathan?
No, I'm just here for him. He's. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, see, now you're really.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Just tell us who you are,
Yeah, I'm here for Nathan. So.
Yeah, you need to tell us who you are, that's all,
for the record.
for the record.
Nathan XU. Well, I'm not, but
No. Who are you?
Who are you?
On behalf
Your
of?
name.
I'm William XU on behalf of my brother Nathan XU.
Okay, thank you.
That's perfect.
Sorry about
Very
that.
good.
Yeah.
All right, so Matt, what's going on with this? Is it ready?
So this was the footbridge across the stream on the Bixby Lane conservation restriction. The work was done about a month ago, so give or take. The building commissioner and I went out on April 12th, looked at it, and we had the building commissioner jumping up and down on this footbridge, and it held. So, I mean, after we, of course, checked to make sure that, there was a contingent of scouts who did the same activity to make sure it was, secure and sturdy. And
So it's good to go.
yep, we signed the certificate of occupancy for the building department and recommend the commission issue the certificate of compliance for this project.
All right, can I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, I got a poll because of Noel's on the
Okay.
phone. Eric?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Okay, great, thank you.
You want to pass them around?
You want to sign it now?
Yeah.
Or you wanna
We're
take it with-
running a couple minutes ahead, so we've got a couple things, so.
How many signatures, just the
top
two?
pages, yep. Thank you, I'll be in touch, I'll send him an email and
Okay.
we'll be in touch with.
I'm good. All right. Thank you so
Have a
much.
good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to our 7:05, which is an appointment with League of Salt candidate Aidan Rosenthal Pitts for rehabilitation of part of the Grassy Pond Life Course. Come on up, Aidan.
Hello, I'm Hayden. I have some pictures that go with my presentation. Thank you. Thank you. So for my Eagle project,
Tell us who you are.
I'm Aiden Rosenthal Pitts. I'm a Life Scout in Troop 159 Westford. For my Eagle project, I'm looking to rehab some of the fitness course stations around Grassy Pond. There's a trail that goes around the pond, has a bunch of stations, but they've fallen into an unsafe state, and they're impossible to use and are very unsafe if you try and use them. I grew up using the course, and it was sad to see it fall into a state where I couldn't use it anymore. So for my Eagle project, I wanted to start on the rebuilding of it. The pictures that are on the front page go with my first station, which is the removal of a large metal pole that is sticking out of a tree with a sharp nail on the end that is unsafe, and the tree that previously made it a station is gone. So the simple step there would be to remove that one. My second station would be redoing the sit-ups, which right now is a moldy half stool falling out of the ground, which I would like to remove and instead put in a stool and two planks coming out of the ground with a pole in between them, so you may sit on the stool and hook your feet under the pole, which keeps you out of the mud because it's frequently very muddy in that area and allows you to use the station. The third station I'm doing would be building a bark mulch pit underneath the jump up bar to ensure its safety and ease of use. The fourth would be the log lift, which luckily I believe the large sharp pole that was swinging on it fell off by itself. But to put in a new pole there so that it's usable and put in a platform at the base, which would be the same design as the stool to keep the same look throughout the course. That way, when you're doing the exercise, you know where to stand for safety, and then it would make it clear that anyone else watching the person do the exercise would be to stand behind so that the log isn't falling on them, which right now is unclear and unsafe. And the final one would be the monkey bars, which, based on the noise they make when you use them, are very unsafe and should be removed. I would take down that top piece and leave in the telephone poles. I would replace the top piece, but instead with gray PVC, so that I could keep the same look of the course, keep it natural, but also ensure that it stays around for longer this time. It's not just wood that's going to rot again.
Pretty good.
And
Yeah.
that would be my project. I have copies of my proposal too, if anyone would like to see them.
At least one filed with Matt.
Yeah,
he-
if I can have one.
Yeah, he's got one. Matt and I walked the course with him and went through this stuff visually, so it's a great project.
Good.
I mean, there's
Long
more work to be
overdue.
done, and we're hoping another Eagle Scout maybe will pick up the rest of it.
So how are you redoing the monkey bars again? You're taking down the top portion?
Yeah,
You're
so
gonna
I'm
replace
taking
that?
down the top piece and I'm going to completely replace the top piece with gray PVC so that it still looks like natural like the rest of the course, because white would stand out a lot. But this way it'll stay longer, because right now it's all molding and falling to pieces.
So it'll be
but I would
gray
leave it in the
PVC,
telephone
but you'll
poles.
still have wooden,
Yes,
grips
yeah,
to-
the sides
okay.
will still be wood.
okay.
Good.
Yeah, it's fine.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay, good. So let's have a motion to approve his project, so we
So
can
moved.
go on.
Second,
All in favor? Eric?
yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Thank you, Aiden. It's a great project.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
Yes,
you.
thank you,
Long needed.
and well presented.
Yes. Okay, we're going to move on to our next agenda item, which is appointment with Westford Fire Chief Todd, requesting approval for Mass DCR to conduct prescribed burns as a fire management strategy at the Sapinski parcel, which has had several fires, Lisa.
I heard
Yeah.
5.
Yeah, I can give you a little bit of an update. We're actually up to 8 from this weekend. Saturday morning, the shift on duty went to just checking the woods, the areas, and they, found several areas where there was wood stacked. We've been getting reports from other parts of the town and conservation area that there's been wood stacked or pallets starting to show up. We have not received any calls or complaints about these. We've investigated them. The 8th fire was one they actually found it burning out on Saturday morning along the railroad tracks. I want to say East Boston camps, but it really is more towards, they had to access it through River Street was the best way to get in there for it. We have 2 fire investigators that work for the Westford Fire Department. They're working with the Westford Police Department detectives, and, they kind of stepped up patrols in the area and everything else. So we have some things going on, some interviews and stuff, and we're trying to figure out where this is coming from. It's been a quiet week, but it's been kind of wet, so that's helped a lot, and the humidity level's been up and stuff. As far as prescribed burns, Greg Whittier from the DCR, they've been coming out, they've been very helpful with us. We bring out mutual aid when we have these calls. Some of them we can handle ourselves. We have about 10 guys on duty, 10 people on duty. We usually have to bring in outside towns to help us with this. The DCR has been great. They've been bringing in a crew of 5 with 2 vehicles to help us. And under his recommendation, he felt that while the weather's still good, the ground hasn't dried out yet. As he called it, he goes, a lot of the stumps and the heavy stuff that's laying on the ground is still wet and hard, cold from the winter. What we're seeing is just a quick surface burn going on. And if we have future fires down there, that he's looking for an area in the Stepensky area along the Stony Brook side of it to may do a couple prescribed burns, but I just wanted to set forth like a mechanism, so if we have to do something, we can kind of move on it. I mean, once I think it dries out, we get to where we'd be looking at like a deep burn into the ground or something like that. You know, we wouldn't be doing that. We're hoping things green up out there, that would help a lot. But there's quite a bit of dried leaves out there, they're wet, so it does burn slow right now, so we're in a good shape if we want to do that within the next couple of weeks. If we have, and I'm not saying we're gonna go out and do it now, but we're looking, if we have further incidents down there, he has a couple areas that he's interested that we'd work together in to get those burns done, and, you know.
Yep.
So this wouldn't be for prevention, it would be more for suppression if there is an incident.
It would burn off that section just so we wouldn't have, they would go in, we'd go in leaf blowers, clear off probably like a fire break, and almost do like a back burn and burn it out.
But if there's an incident,
If there's an incident, yeah, we're not gonna go
Yeah.
rushing in tomorrow or something like
Okay.
that. And we want to set up a mechanism to, you know, to work with you, you know, the board on this also.
This would give you the ability to do it when you knew it was important and not worry about getting a hold of us at that moment.
Yeah,
Right,
so-
I mean,
With the understanding that, you know, we'll talk about it after, et cetera.
right, I mean, we're looking at, you know, it's gonna be, I think, kind of rainy this week, and then I think we're gonna get into over the weekend, it's gonna dry out again. Once the, relative humidities drop, and if we get cool nights and then warm daytime temperatures, that's when we get a high fire load in there. So, and, you know, I don't know how often you meet, but it'd be nice just to have like a mechanism in place that we could.
And so my thought was, you know, to have provisional approval, you know, for this, you know, if, again, DCR is responding and they say, hey, you know, the best strategy to, you know,
Best
to
practice.
respond to this is to, you know, do a back burn to limit, you know, exposure of the responding,
I agree, it would be
and,
pretty awful.
you know,
to come in
have
and
it
find
be
out.
the chief, you know, the fire chief, myself, and the chair, you know, just, you know, so that, you know, we can, if it is determined to be a
Sure.
necessary
And you have their
strategy.
phone numbers, so you could just
No.
buzz them and say, we're
Yeah.
on the way, we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we
I-
dragged Matt out with us last week down there, so.
good to me.
Yeah,
Sounds
no,
good.
that works for me.
Okay,
Thank you.
can I have a motion then to do a provisional approval for doing the prescribed burns?
So moved,
Second,
All in favor? Eric,
yes.
Marilyn,
yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Noel,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Great, chief.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
very
coming.
much.
Appreciate the report.
Good luck, hope you don't have to use it.
Yeah, really. Have a good
I
evening.
hope, I hope you're able to
Thank you, Chief.
apprehend this person soon.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to our
First one
next
I've ever
agenda item, which is a public hearing for Campbell, 12 Lower Road, 334-1795. Jim?
Under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetland bylaw, Chapter 171, the Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, April 27th, 2022, at 7:10 PM in Meeting Room 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street, to consider the notice of intent application of Joyce Campbell for installation of a replacement subsurface sewage disposal system, a tight tank, and water main in bordering land subject to flooding and within 100 feet of Nabnasset Lake at 12 Lower Road, Assessors Map 74, Parcel 237, Lot 0.
We didn't receive plans, or we didn't receive copies of plans.
Oh, we did?
Matt Morrow, the representative, he has another hearing at this time via Zoom. So if we can continue this to later in the, you know,
That's okay with me.
continue it to, you know, later in the meeting when he.
Oh, okay. He's going to have something?
Yeah, no, I mean, he has we have the plans. Plans were submitted, we just didn't receive physical copies of them.
I see.
So we'll hold it till later tonight.
So we'll hold it till later? Okay, that's fine. Okay, then we'll move, it's a little bit early. Let's, what do we got?
Discussion items?
Yeah, special items. Let's do the request for a certificate of compliance, 12 Weedham Way, Lot 1. Is that good?
So that was the electrical or utility work at the 12 Weedamoo property that currently has the new notice of intent with the commission. So the work was done in accordance with the plans. I'm
You recommend.
recommend issuing the certificate of compliance for this.
Okay, motion?
So moved,
Second,
All in favor? Eric,
yes.
Marilyn,
yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Noel,
Yes.
Ian,
Yes.
Margaret,
Yes.
and Peter, yes. Okay, how about the second one for 12 Weedham Way?
Yes, so that was the construction of the house that is back before the commission. No work was done against that order. Recommend that be issued.
Issued, okay. Motion?
Second,
All in favor? Eric,
yes.
Marilyn,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Noel,
Yes.
Ian,
Yes.
Margaret,
Yes.
and Peter, yes. And the last one, 12 Orion Way, is that ready or not?
Yes, that is the, I did perform the site visit yesterday. There were conservation posts installed, plantings had been installed. Everything looks stable. There were a little bit of debris that I had the homeowner remove from the wetland buffer that had accumulated over time, but recommend the commission issue this.
Okay, motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor? Eric,
yes.
Marilyn,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Noel,
Yes.
Ian, Margaret,
Yes.
and Peter, yes.
Do you want to sign?
Yeah, we can sign it, we get the minutes. Okay, minutes from March 23rd. Anybody have any changes, corrections, additions? Good. They're all good again?
Yep.
I don't know when the last time
become
we
the
made any
norm.
changes. Motion to approve the minutes from March 23rd.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor? Eric,
yes.
Marilyn,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Noel,
Yes.
Ian,
Yes.
Margaret,
Yes.
and Peter, yes. All right.
Jim?
Pass these. Oh, I forget you?
No.
No, go ahead.
While we're on discussion and action items, there's one more item, the cypress sycamore, rocks and bushes.
Yes.
Oh, when have I heard that?
Every single, well, I can tell you how many days it's been.
Yeah.
We know that.
It's
We
coming
know
up,
that.
it's coming up on close to a
many
year now,
meetings?
but we should be getting
Okay.
our boulders soon.
Boulders are,
Okay.
I've spoken with the highway and spoken with the the developers down off the Griffin Road. Should be in shortly this week, if not, but beginning of
Unless
next.
there's
So Jim,
scarcity
and
of
the
rocks.
purpose-
and getting and putting in the shrubs as well, the
Right,
plantings
the
as well.
purpose of this is
Yep.
to protect the shrubs
Yep.
that are gonna be going into,
Yep.
that are there in substitution for the trees that were cut down without any notice.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to our 720, which is a continuation of public hearing, issue order of conditions for Bergamo, 6 Weedham Way, 334-1792. How you doing? You had a chance to review these?
I did, and we submitted revised plans, which I think addressed the commission's questions with some additional drainage to capture the runoff from the driveway. We reviewed the draft order and don't have any comments.
Great.
Commission members good with this?
Yep.
This is for 6?
Yes.
Yeah, number 6, Weedham.
Okay. Nope,
Nope, you good?
I'm good.
Motion to approve the order of
So moved.
conditions.
Second,
All in favor? Eric,
yes.
Marilyn,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Noel,
Yes.
Ian,
Abstain?
and Margaret,
Yes.
and Peter, yes. Motion to close the public hearing.
Moved.
Second,
All in favor? Eric,
yes.
Marilyn,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Noel,
Yes.
Ian,
Yes.
Margaret,
Yes.
and Peter, yes. Okay, good.
Thank you very much.
Yep, thanks. Well, we're ahead of
You're here
schedule.
for the 725?
He's here for
Yeah, I'm
about
here
half
for
an
the
hour.
7:30, 7:35.
You didn't see his bed in the corner?
I don't know if there's been somebody for 4 public hearings in a row, but it's just my time here.
I'm lucky enough to have Paul with me for this one.
Wow.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Did you get that typo in?
I did, I forwarded it to, actually, no, I don't think it was. I think that was the plan date.
The plan reference.
With the date, with the 2000, that was an old.
So you guys know for town meeting, the only two things on there for us are the
No, it said
CPA
last
request.
revised.
We're also putting in an article to extend the lease at the Orchard to 5 years. renewable with,
Okay.
so we don't have to keep doing it every
Yeah.
3.
Okay.
It's like East Boston camps.
Okay.
So we can do a contract of 5 with a potential to renew it for 5.
I don't think there's anything we have to discuss at that meeting. You know, and CPC will be represented, I'm assuming by Tilly, unless it's by me, but usually it's Tilly.
Okay.
Yeah, that should, the 5-year Hill Orchard request should be going before the select board at one of their upcoming meetings, just to get their
Okay,
recommendations.
And to backtrack, I will be
Did you
speaking
get
for,
any suggestion regarding the change of the land?
not the EDC, I'm sorry, I'll be speaking for the,
It did.
190,000 on
We're
FinCom's
probably
next
gonna end up
Thursday.
submitting
I always speak
at a later date.
Okay,
That shows
great.
it.
Super.
So we can
I
review
don't think
it.
there's any issue about anything, we have very little this year.
We're in good shape.
Yeah.
If we want to jump back to 12, it's like,
Oh, is he here?
yeah. we
Is
can-
12, is 12 here?
Yeah, Mr. Morrow? Yes, sir. If we can go, we're a little
Wait,
running.
sorry, guys.
Yeah, so much for your streak of format. If we can,
Sorry.
If you wanna finish with these guys, it's
well, no, we,
Well, no, they're gonna be here a little while.
yeah, the,
Don't worry, not us.
At least Paul's not.
I'll see you in a minute. It's Old Home Week here, apparently. Thanks for waiting, guys. That was actually, I had to go on a Zoom meeting at the same time because my partner's in Florida and refuses to answer the phone.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was the fastest I've ever gotten a single-family house approved. Ever.
Okay, so just identify yourself and tell us what the project is.
My name is Matt Morrow. I'm an environmental consultant. I am here representing Joyce Campbell. The things that you have before you are for a notice of intent for the replacement of a cesspool at 12 Lower Road, which is a peninsula on, I believe it's pronounced Nabnasat Pond. Nabnasset Pond, thank you. Essentially, this has been approved by the Board of Health. Evan Carloni from Innovative Septic Design actually designed an actual system to go in here, and the Board of Health rejected it. And told them essentially they wanted a tight tank. He designed the tight tank's been approved. I do have a DEP number. The only comment they expressed concern with was any potential impacts to the floodplain, because the property is in the 100-year floodplain. Essentially, there is no impact to the floodplain. The system is basically being buried underground. The grading that you see is actually existing grading. It's just showing that what's buried is going to be put back. The erosion protection that is proposed is in the form of 12-inch wattles going around the, well, you can see it up on your screen here, around the backside.
The yellow button is a laser pointer there, if you
Oh.
wanna.
Super, thank you. So what you have here is you have erosion protection in the form of wattles, 12-inch wattles staked into the ground. That is actually shown in a detail on the plan, which is basically right here. If you notice, there were little triangle points here. Those are trees. So he basically, I had Evan go out and Evan marks the, the major trees on the site. So there are 2 trees in this area where the monolithic tank is going in that are gonna have to be removed. Everything else is gonna be left alone. The water line up front is slated to be replaced. Other than that, that's the only scope of work on this.
Okay, so you're gonna have to replace the 2 trees somewhere on the lot.
I could put them anywhere you want.
Yeah, yeah, usually it's just, if you take a tree out, we have you put one in.
Yeah, sure. What I could probably do is I could, if it's all right with the commission, I'll have one put over here and one put over here. That'll be close to the peninsula. I'll have them put up some red maples because they'll grow fast. They'll give some good
That's
shading
indigenous,
value.
So that's good,
Yep,
that's fine.
okay, sounds good.
I have just a couple comments just regarding the abandonment of the existing tank cesspool and leach area, but also, as Mr. Morrow explained, the water line was proposed to be replaced. Just having erosion controls installed while work is being performed so that there isn't any off-site transport of material. And just also, again, around, on the down gradient side of where the existing tank and cesspools proposed, just so, again, in the event of any significant storms flowing.
I'll
toward-
make sure that those are added. I'm assuming that you usually require like a 48-hour notification so you can inspect the erosion protection?
Yeah, we'll have special conditions drafted and we'll send them to you and
Okay.
have it reviewed prior to the next meeting.
Yep. If you could send me the original, because I'm the one that makes sure that it gets recorded.
Okay, good to know.
Okay, we're good. We'll continue this. Any questions from the audience on this application? Okay, seeing none, we'll continue this to our May 11th meeting.
Okay,
Write the orders. Can I have a motion to that effect?
so moved.
Do I need to appear, or?
No, he'll give you the order conditions ahead of time unless you have a problem with the order. No,
Okay.
okay?
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Okay, great. Thank you.
And we're not giving him a time. We're just.
No,
No,
meeting's starting at 7 and we'll assign a
Yeah,
time.
we'll sign the time.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move back to our 7:25, which is a continuation of a public hearing and issue order of conditions for Corvos, 12 Wintermere Way, Lot 1, 334-1791.
Good evening, Matt Waterman, with Land Tech Consultants, here on behalf of Weedmore Estates, Inc. Also with me, Paul Alphin, representing Weedmore Estates, Inc. as well. Since our last meeting, we've had a couple site walk. The last meeting we met with the commission was on March 23rd. We had a site walk on the 29th. We've met with the client on the site a couple times, gone through it. There was some plan revisions that were submitted. There was one kind of big change that was different than what we had talked about at the last meeting, and was actually moving the garage, which was on a plan that was submitted with the notice of intent. The garage was attached to the house. We actually staked it out, met with the client, and he wanted to put the detached and make the garage detached, which is actually going back to how the notice of intent was originally approved. So actually, when this was approved in 2014, it was a detached garage. We came in for modification to make it attached. Now we're going back to detached. We don't question what the client's object.
Hey, that's fine.
So in this picture here, you can see the tan kind of in the center of the drawing. The driveway coming down is the existing driveway, and then it'll come to a small turnaround. The detached garage will be on your left, and the house will be on your right. The house location hasn't changed from the approved plan back in 2016 to any plan changes with this change, with this updated plan. We did modify, we added, and when I moved the garage, I couldn't help but kind of make improvements to the drainage. We had previously had an infiltration trench along the southeast kind of property line. And so what we did was kind of brought up to best management practices, where at the end of the driveway, which was kind of the critical drainage, obviously the runoff coming off that circular driveway, there'll be a small pea-stone diaphragm, and then there'll be a 20 or 30-foot vegetated grass buffer, and then there'll be an infiltration trench, and then there'll be it's actually the 75-foot buffer, or the 50-foot buffer. But what that does, it's kind of like consistent with what stormwater management recommends with that little pea-stone diaphragm to get some TSS removal, the vegetative buffer, and then the infiltration trench. So that was kind of our big change. It's previously we had that design that was, this is consistent with that. We just kind of made improvements to that. Secondly, we added the roof drain and sized it for the house. I know that there was some questions. We just had a 500-gallon roof drain on the previous plans. We sized it with the kind of the standard, the Caltech StormTech system that connects to the roof drainage system. That's shown kind of below the house on this plan, clipping underneath the driveway. And then on the basin, there's one more drainage change. We previously had a small basin that was squeezed in at the bottom of the driveway when you're coming down the street driveway. That didn't seem very functional to me. It just seemed like, when we were looking, it functioned more like a sediment forebay. It was small. And so I think in knowing the amount of stuff that was in that area, I felt personally that a grass swale along the back behind that shed would function better. It would be a very shallow slope, 0.5%, which is what the standard is for, so you get that TSS removal. Then I focused the drainage on pre-treatment. similar to what that sediment forebay was doing, but I thought this would be more functional. And then you would have that vegetated buffer off to the side towards the beach area, instead of coming down through the middle in between the houses. I just thought personally that that was gonna get better treatment and and help spread out that runoff into the woods. Lastly, the restoration area, excuse me, the most important thing of the discussion. I skipped right over that. We did modify and we added 2 restoration areas along the shoreline. It totals 4,000 square feet. There's 2 small ones up along the shoreline. In the areas that aren't directly in front of the houses, so the camps. So there's a little break in the restoration areas for access in front of the main house, and then there's areas to the left and to the right. So we were trying to keep it what we felt was something that would be functional, that would be maintained and not get trampled. And so we did have that restoration area. One's 1,300 square feet, and the second one, the smaller one, is 800 square feet. And then off to the right, we previously had this restoration area on the plan. It had a gap for access to the access and utility easement across the abutters lot. That easement's going to get extinguished, and so we kind of eliminated that gap and focused that restoration just on that 75, the 50-foot buffer, and wrapping it around and in what we felt would probably be something that is able to get restored and maintained as restored. Matt, if you could go to the microburst photos, and I know this is just something that's important. I know you guys hear a lot of the microburst and all of the story, and you have a lot of experience with the summer village and the amount of damage that went on there, but we just felt it was important. They did take photos at the time the microburst came through. This is the golf tee, or the green.
That's going, right?
The golf tee is going. That's exactly where the smaller 800 square foot restoration area is, exactly where the golf green is. So that is going.
Okay, that's what.
But we just wanted to show you, there was significant damage along the shoreline. This is that 5-tree cluster that was right where the green is. And then I think a little further, there was a second tree that was a single tree that crashed into the camp. And so there was some stumps down there. So, and I wasn't aware of I was always told there was damage, but I hadn't seen these photos. So I just thought it was important that we passed it along. They were not cutting trees down along the shoreline. There was significant damage from that storm. So we just thought it was important to kind of present that.
Okay.
I'll be happy to answer any questions. I know Matt had asked about delineating some permanent posts. I would just request that we maybe mark up a plan that we could work with staff. I think it's easy on that southeast, kind of along the natural buffer, that section BC. And then I would probably focus some posts around those restoration areas. And I think we could come up with a plan that kind of preserves those restoration areas and that existing natural buffer along that southeast corner of the peninsula. So we could certainly put an exhibit plan together that kind of documents everything, instead of just having posts going through the middle of the front of the site.
Sure. Questions from the commission? Margaret?
I can't remember, because the public hearing at our last meeting was continued without discussion, did we ever do a formal recording of the site visit that we made?
No,
Yeah, I wasn't here, so, no.
no, I don't think we
I
did.
don't think we did.
Okay, you know, and I think that's part of what we need to do to make sure our record is complete, so it gets in the
So
minutes.
we can give that to Matt.
No, it needs,
We'll just hash it out right here, is what she's saying,
we need to talk
to
about.
discuss it.
You want to bring it up
So-
so it's in the minutes?
So you can bring it up right now, and
You
just
bring it up
discuss it.
now.
Yeah, okay,
So I'm sure you've got these bullet pointed.
no,
You know,
but anyway, so yes, we saw the putting green, which Matt has already alluded to. We saw the sumps, we asked questions, and Matt's given us pictures that says, yeah, this is what the microburst did. And I don't know if anybody else has other
We
recollections.
didn't want anything right along the shore.
Yes,
Yeah, it looked like, it actually looked kind of amateurish. I mean, it looked, as though they were just doing different things right by the shore. I think it should be more pristine than that.
Well, I'm a little concerned because pristine means different things to
Yeah,
different
to
people.
different
Right,
people,
so take
yeah.
my word pristine out,
Yeah,
and, naturalize it.
Naturalize it.
Natural it is
There you
fine.
go.
yeah, planting plan, if that's what you want to do for vegetation.
And we do have a planting plan from Norse Environmental Services.
Just submit.
I didn't get to submit it to Matt ahead of time, but we can certainly condition that the planting, the naturalization areas, the three of them, will be subject to a planting plan by a wetland scientist.
And to go forward in perpetuity, so if they ever sell a
Yeah.
house or anything, that
And,
next
and we'll
neighbor-
provide that. It'll be,
Okay.
we can make that a condition that we have to submit a planting plan from a botanist.
Well, and I guess what this ties into is you had taken a picture of section A to section B, showing how, there are trees, but it's fairly bare ground, and below that was a note about, treat with healthy lawn practices, and I looked at that bare dirt, and I'm saying, this is not going to be lawn. I think with what we've talked about for, to have it naturalized so that we've got better soil, a better erosion protection,
Maybe we spell that out.
yeah, and.
We spell it out, so it won't be.
You're talking about his two buffer areas.
Yeah.
No, I'm not, I'm talking from section A to section B, so, Matt, if you can slide down and slide to the left to show the picture. And this area, they talk about, below there's a note that talks about using healthy lawn practices, and I look at there in that area where there's basically nothing going on the ground, and it's how do you do healthy lawn practices on bare ground? I can see planting ground cover, shrubs so that people can move through it, but in terms of stabilization close to the, very close to the pond, I would want to see,
You don't want to see grass.
I don't want to see grass. I don't want to see it, being maintained with herbicides or things like that. And it just, to me, I looked at that and I thought, a healthy lawn is not going to work there, and I don't, that's my 2 cents.
It's in writing, it'll be in perpetuity. It's not
Am I-
a big piece.
And you're saying this is beyond just these two
It's-
locations here?
It's from
All
this, where this section B is, from there,
Okay.
looking along, across it. So
Okay.
before the restoration area is kind of, I think, the beginning part of this picture, and it just,
Yeah,
we've
I'm
made a,
standing about here facing,
yeah,
and you can see the Camp A in the
Right.
background,
Right.
yeah,
which is that
Yeah.
smaller structure.
you know,
You
and
can't
I,
see this one. That's off to my right in this photo.
And
yeah.
you're saying that those areas right now that aren't going to be naturalized restoration areas are going to be grassed in? That's the proposal?
Well, no, it just,
No.
Matt, if you can scroll up a little, there's a note below this picture that talks about what's intended for here.
Right, and that's why we went out there, and that's why we told him no, and that's why he's put the two restoration areas in.
But a big piece of this is outside the restoration area.
But which piece are you talking about?
Um,
I think this
Yeah?
area
Yeah,
here.
right.
Because a lot of that was all sand
Yeah,
in front of the
there is-
cottage.
I think there is, like I said, there's access between
Yeah,
Yeah.
that to the dock,
the
and it was
camp
all
and here.
sand.
And I think what she's saying, if it's all sand, how are they going to turn it into a healthy lawn?
But I think where he's taking that picture, he's not way back there. He's standing in that area, right, by the dock.
Yeah, we could clarify some of those areas, in particular, that area.
Yeah.
And if,
yeah,
we're not gonna go out there and create lawn if there's not lawn now, for sure.
okay.
And we can certainly establish or
No, ground,
delineate on either what the vegetation is or something to that effect and how it's,
That'll do it. That'll
but I think there is, I think there will be, I think some lawn areas back like into
Yeah.
here that I think will get maintained. I agree, there's a transition going in through here, because this is natural.
Yes.
Once you turn the corner and kind of go up this eastern side of the peninsula, there's definitely a transition going on from here. There's a bit of activity that goes on between here, and then we can certainly make sure that there's not lawn area being established in there.
Yeah, so when you were talking about a plan for putting the no disturb posts, were you also thinking from section B to section C? Where
Yeah,
it's,
I pictured the post kind of going along
Okay.
this shoreline, you know, along this tree line. I mean, it's not gonna be tight to the house, there'll be
No.
10 feet or something, but, and then in through here, I think we'll have to figure out, and that, we'll show that on that plan. And then I was gonna go out and around, obviously, the two restoration areas.
yeah, and I
I
think,
hadn't thought about beyond that.
well, and I think a lot of our concern is the first 30 feet back from the edge of the pond, because that's where you really get prevention of erosion, soil stabilization and stuff like that. But around the structures, yes, people want to have a lawn that they can walk on, maybe a nice place to put a chair down and look at the pond.
But we can merge the planting plan and the post, the conservation post. We can make sure the conservation posts are shown on the planting plan.
Right,
Makes sense.
okay.
Okay.
Jim?
Continuing the site visit notes, the dock on the north up there, it was tied off to some trees and with just rope tied around the trees, and it's cutting into the trees. I think if you go, there's some pictures in the plans, what's it called?
Yeah, if you scroll down to the,
Sheet 4 of the construction plan. There we go. Right there. On the,
Yep, I'm good there. Just zooming in, sorry.
right
There
there,
we go.
yeah. That tree there is in danger of dying, and the dock is indicated as either can be taken out or left in place. What's the plan?
I think well, I believe the commission's always said that it's removed. I think that's,
That's what we thought we
Yeah.
discussed, but I mean, the notes say it can be left in place.
oh, okay, I didn't realize.
Or, or removed.
Yeah, no, and I can edit that to make sure that it's removed.
And put in some kind of a stake system, whatever, instead of using the tree, because it'll just wipe out that tree. And I suspect there's probably something similar on the opposite side to hold the dock in place. We have nothing to do with dock licensing.
I can advise that they should seek a Chapter 91 license with Mass DEP.
Now, do they, because they've got two docks, do they need two licenses?
That's a great question for Mass DEP and the Chapter 91 program.
There you go.
Yeah, the other dock was just straight out, didn't seem to be attached like this one to the
Right.
trees. This is the one we got problems with.
Yeah.
Is that it from the commission? Okay, any questions from the audience on this application?
I had just a couple clarification questions
Yep.
for the applicant. The existing building to the south of the proposed garage, on the original plan, that was to be removed. There's
Correct,
No
and that
longer a
was-
to be removed notation.
And I think I originally, when I had done the notice of intent back in 2014, I believe that was the goal, and I think once we laid out the camp, or excuse me, the detached garage, there was, he didn't want it to be removed.
Okay. And then the other,
Certainly being utilized.
and then the other question I had was just based upon the aerial coverage of impervious within the buffer and how that has changed from the previous plan to, and that's just, what the number is, again, for the record.
We can provide that. I know that previously there was a gravel drive that accessed Camp B, the one that's on the point. We'll call the smaller one A, the one on the point B, and the really small one C, but, and I believe that was paved, recently within the last couple of years. And so we can certainly provide the impervious areas on the plan and denote if there was a change from the 2014 plan.
Okay, we're good? Okay, we're gonna continue this to May 11th, issue the orders on May 11th. That
So
motion,
moved.
Second,
all in favor? Eric?
yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Peter, yes. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on to our 735, which is a 25 Buckwood Drive enforcement order.
7:30.
Oh, I missed that? Adams, I'm sorry. Adams,
Yeah,
I missed
Adams.
you, I'm sorry.
Under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetlands bylaw, Chapter 171, the Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, April 27th, 2022, at 7:30 PM in Meeting Room 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street, to consider the notice of intent application of Mark Adams for construction of a 672-square-foot addition to an existing dwelling, 356-square-foot patio, and associated grading within 100 feet of bordering vegetated wetlands, and within 200 feet of a perennial stream, Butter Brook, at 143 Carlisle Road, Assessors Map 7, Parcel 111, Lot 3.
Good evening, Matt Waterman with Land Tech Consultants. Here with me is Mark Adams, the applicant and owner of 143 Carlisle Road. I don't know if anyone was on the commission when this was built back in 2003.
We just come aboard.
I don't know if anyone was, Margaret was, thank you. I knew-
Eric was?
I was.
Meryl and I were here, we were here.
Yeah,
for
we're
that.
here.
So you're probably more familiar with this than I am.
Remind us.
And Mark is here tonight. There's an addition being proposed off the northeasterly corner. The property it's a 1.6 acre parcel. If you're going down Carlisle Road towards Route 27 or heading towards Carlisle on 225, you go past Old Road. This house is probably the second house on your right. It's in between where Old Road takes off and 27, if you're heading south. It's an existing single-family dwelling. It has a septic and a well, constructed, like I said, back in 2003. Butter Brook runs along kind of the bottom portion of the lot. There are a couple resource areas on the lot. There's a wetland, there's a bordering vegetated wetland, there's a floodplain, and then there's the riverfront associated with Butter Brook. When this was constructed, there was a lot of legal battles going on, if you will, for lack of a better word, and for the determination of the Butter Brook and whether it was a river. It was determined that it was not a river at that time. I believe it was appealed to court. I think they did it as an RDA, which didn't make sense to me, but might have been the process back then.
I think it was an NOI, but the RDA was for the determination.
For the determination
of whether it was perennial or intermittent, ultimately was determined to be intermittent. I had a great fun time doing research on this one. Thanks, Matt.
So there's a lot of paperwork. That is, 16 or however long ago, 17 years ago, 18 years ago. So that determination has kind of expired with the project at that time. So we didn't go out and make any determination, so we're treating it like it is a riverfront. We didn't go out there and try and make any determination otherwise. I think the project and the scope kind of reflects that. Mark did a lot of homework before he even came to us in citing this and minimizing his impacts on the lot. The driveway on this plan you can see is kind of the shaded in yellow. It's a tight, there's very limited disturbance, coming in off of Carlisle Road, going from right to left. There's a turnaround, there's a drive under, side load. And then the addition is to the north, or planned north, with a small patio that goes to the left of it. The addition will be on stilts, it'll be on the screw auger pilings, so there'll be no foundation, no excavation. Mark did that, I think, to help minimize the impacts during construction. It's very tight, obviously, for construction equipment. They can stage on that driveway turnaround, but I think just knowing the history and the amount of resource areas, floodplain, he felt like this was a kind of a better project. And so we're here tonight. It's about 70, I apologize. The addition is 672 it's 672 square feet. It's 77 feet from the wetland, and it's going to be proposed on existing lawn area. The patio is 356 square feet. It'll be pervious, and that as well will be on lawn area. We did provide drainage around the perimeter of the addition and the patio area. It's a trench drain. It's about 76 feet long, 2 feet wide, 2 feet deep.
The riverfront that is degraded with this project, going from lawn to impervious, is 1,028, or the patio and the addition combined. We did get a DEP file number issued. There was no comments issued by the state that I'm aware of. We'd be happy to answer any questions. There are no changes to the septic or any of the utilities on site.
Questions from the commission?
The comment about pervious pavers answered my question.
Right, and you're gonna have a little gap with the patio, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, like when in between the brick?
Yes.
Yes. We did talk about it, I just
Yes.
wanted to make sure. Didn't mean to put you on the spot, sorry.
And putting the pad, I mean, it looks like you're putting the patio where you had an existing deck. And
Correct,
that's
there
not
is a
gonna
deck.
have any impact on your reserve area for your septic?
No.
Nope,
Okay.
Matt, just something for the plan. Existing D-box, existing leaching pits?
I think those are for the abutters.
Oh, you're right. That is not on the property. Great, thanks. I was like, really, Matt?
Hopefully, we're not,
Yeah,
we'd
that.
have bigger problems if we were, doing that.
Okay, thanks.
This looks pretty good, I mean, you know,
Yeah, I don't have any real issues with this.
yeah. no,
Yeah, I mean, he did a good job of siting it away from the wetland areas,
Yep.
obviously, and minimizing construction.
It's good. Questions from the audience on this application? Okay, seeing none, we'll continue this to our May 11th agenda item as a final approval and close the meeting, okay?
Thank you.
Motion to continue May 11th.
Second.
All in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes?
And Peter, yes. Thank you, guys.
Work on cleaning up a certificate of compliance for the original notice of intent. We were hoping to get that tonight, but ran out of time.
Okay.
Just to clean up an outstanding order, so we'll have that prepared for the next meeting.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Okay, now we'll move on to our 7:30 25 Buckwood Drive enforcement order. Discussion of existing conditions and plan. Okay, Matt, you want to explain this?
Yep, hold on one sec. Good evening, for the record, Matt Waterman with Land Tech Consultants. Here with me tonight is Rosemary Hinkle. I know that you had an enforcement order that was issued probably about a month ago, maybe a little bit longer, for 25 Buckboard Drive. We are here tonight, she's hired us to do the survey of the lot, which is up on the screen. There was a lot of time and effort to get the plan and up to date, I think, with what the commission wanted to see for as far as the additional work that was done on site. I know that there was a lot of questions at the initial hearing. Rose is here to answer any questions. I think there was kind of two discussions that we were hoping to accomplish with the board tonight. I know that there was the pool area, you know, and the deck area around the pool, which was her original building permit, and which, you know, Rose was given approval to build the building by the building department. And I know that in the original enforcement order, it talks about the changes. And with this as-built plan, the commission, we were looking at the buffer. We had a wetland scientist go out and flag the wetlands, which are shown in the upper right corner of our plan, or the northeast section. They're off-site on the abutters property. There's flags 1 through 5A. The retaining wall for the pool is what is it, 83 feet away? It's outside the 75-foot buffer. The pool is even further. The pool is just within the...
It's outside the 100.
It's outside the 100, excuse me. The pool slide and the landscaped area is within the 100. And so I think that one of the goals was to kind of establish that the commission had any issues with the location of the pool and kind of the construction with the pool and what her original, you know, building permit. I know there's some other issues that the commission will want to talk about to the north, but we were hoping tonight
to kind of at least establish that the commission doesn't have any issues with the pool and the deck area. Rose has been working very hard to reach out to contractors and try and get some construction estimates with doing any work north of her property. She's had a hard time. It's not going to be cheap. I think it's going to, the numbers at least that her and I have talked about informally without doing any, I'm not a contractor, but just knowing that we're talking in the tens of thousands of dollars, not thousands of dollars. I think it was important to kind of establish what the commission expects before moving forward. She would like to do some homework and legwork before committing to anything. It's not that she doesn't want to commit. We're here tonight. We provided the commission, I think, with a lot of good information, but this is a lot overwhelming for Rose, who just did a lot of improvements to her property, and before locking into something, she wants to get out and get some hard numbers from some contractors, and it's not to put things off or do anything, to not do anything, but she needs real numbers before she can.
She's looking for some guidance from us too.
Correct.
On
So
what
then
we're
we're
good
here to
with and
look
what
for
we're
some
not.
guidance.
On the pool part.
So,
looks
And
you
more
know,
specifically, what the commission is
Pool's fine.
expecting.
so on the pool.
The
Pool's
pool
fine.
part
Yeah,
is,
the pool part's
There's no
fine.
problem with the pool.
that part is okay.
Yeah, I see
Okay.
no problem with that.
Yeah.
You know, it's outside of our jurisdiction, the pool is.
For the most part.
For the most part. I mean, yeah, that you've got landscaped area and the slide feet, but that's, yeah, that's all
Yeah.
fine. You know,
Let that go.
like you say, it's getting up closer, into this area, and, now that you know that it looks like some of the work has gone beyond the property boundary, you're best trying to decide, how am I gonna remedy that?
There's access, there's a lot of things that need to get, where we previously had access on one side, we now are limited on, so now there's different issues that we have to deal with, or arose, and,
New challenges.
yes.
So if you split this,
But I don't think and there's no issue in regards to the pool and that work.
No,
Yeah, it's
no.
gonna be some of this other work in the north.
Well, it's mostly, you gotta move the fence, you gotta move the shed. The issue comes in with all that landscaping you did off your property on the CR area. And that's what you gotta try to figure out.
Yes, and I'm working on that.
And that's fine.
very
No, we can
difficult.
appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
that's
talking
fine.
to a lawyer to try to, work with them and see if I can get the company who did it, the patio company involved.
Yep.
In at least, providing some funds or coming back to do the work. But I need to get a firm estimate from him
Right.
before we can really move forward that way. And that's been difficult because a lot of companies don't want to undo what somebody else did, and some of them just run away and don't even come. And
Yep,
some of them are very hesitant. So now that it's spring, of course, we started this, it was December, I believe, and it was difficult to get anybody out at that point. They all said, wait till spring. So now some of them are starting to come back, but I haven't been able to get a firm estimate from anybody that is actually interested in doing the work. If anybody has anybody that works with the commission on a regular basis, I would be very interested in talking to them.
okay. That's fine. We'll give you all the time you need.
Great.
It's just that, we have to follow up on this because
Sure,
there's
I
a
understand.
restriction on this. If we don't do something on it, the state's liable to come in and do it for us. So we don't want that.
I understand, and I do have concerns about the side of the property, like Matt said, that they work from the back to the front, and there are now additional retaining walls surrounding the home itself, and that, becomes limited access now. And on that side, they have the retaining wall there's literally no room for a truck, and I fear that they can take down some of the structures, but if they move forward, even if a truck will fit if they move the structures, I fear that it's gonna be too damaging to the retaining wall that's there. And if that goes on to, the abutting property, that becomes a larger problem than what I'm dealing with. That's my concern on that side of the property. I think it can be done on this side of the property, but I need to get somebody who's willing to be careful so that they don't, at least ruin the retaining walls enough that I'm worried about now the foundation of the home. So I think that can be done, but again, I'm trying to get people, construction companies back there who can work with that and work with me.
And we are gonna be staking the rear property corners again, to help kind of visualize with the contractors. So that is something that we are also gonna be doing, hopefully the beginning of next week.
You know, one of the difficulties was they didn't really know what they had to do, because they didn't know where the property line was in the back, and so we didn't know how far up they had to move everything, and what was, you know, truly involved. So once that's done, I can move forward, and if I get a, you know, I wanted to present the committee with everything, because I know there were some questions about Matt's predecessor, who kind of approved the project without any kind of real, you know,
Well, at least you know we're okay with the pool and the
yes,
pool
and that's
area.
wonderful.
And
That's-
hopefully that
that's great.
alleviates your concern there,
Yes.
and you can focus your attentions up
Exactly.
in that area and seek to remedy that.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, what do you want to do? Put this out a couple of months just as a tickler?
Yeah, we can certainly do that, and, I mean, it's not a public hearing, so, I
Right.
mean, we can certainly,
Can get
you
it.
know, revisit it beginning of June,
Okay, so,
June 8th, and just kind of, at minimum, have an update where
I can
where
update
things.
the company, I can update the commission regularly, Matt, I can update you regularly on
And let's give her all of
anything
May,
that
so she could come at the beginning of June.
on anything that.
yeah, put it on the second one for June. Okay, just to have it in
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
It's a discussion item.
Yep,
Just put it as a
discussion
discussion
item.
item. Okay, we're
6,
good
8.
then.
So is
Thank
that
you.
22,
8th,
28,
or, no,
No, no.
the 8th.
the 8th?
No, do the second one.
Oh, sorry,
Give her more
yeah,
time.
okay, then June 22nd, there we go.
22nd.
And then if the committee could just provide me with, I guess, I don't know if anything changed from the last enforcement order, but if, just a final list of things pertaining to the back, so that the construction companies know exactly what they have to
Take a
do.
look
You
back
can
at
connect
the,
with Matt, and he'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll look at
so-
the enforcement order and make sure.
We can
that
certainly do
we're-
that.
One more time.
If anything is omitted, we can, you know, make sure that it's consistent with what the commission's looking for.
Okay?
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're moving on to our 7:40 agenda item, which is continuation of a public hearing and issue order of conditions for Blaisdell, 3 Mark Vincent Drive, 334, 1793.
Hi, good evening.
Evening.
Maureen Harold, North Carolina.
Thank you.
Large size plans. A little bit easier to see. Okay, so I was in front of the commission 2 weeks ago. The meeting got continued. The commission wanted some additional information. Let's see. We ended up shifting the rear fence to the east, so we provided an additional buffer to the BVW. We're proposing mitigation plantings in this area, 3 high bush blueberries, 3 winterberries. Plantings were not proposed along the northerly portion of the property or behind the dwelling. We have some Japanese knotweed in that area, we have some Phragmites in that area, and it's pretty intense in the fact that the knotweed is starting to sprout up through the lawn area. So I didn't want to propose a natural buffer and just have it be taken completely over by the knotweed. So we didn't propose anything in that area. The landscape wall, we do show the top and the bottom of the wall. It's about 2.5 feet at the high point, closest to the house corner, and then it grades out to about 1 foot. We're proposing approximately 140 cubic yards of fill for the backyard, and the applicant is proposing a 250-gallon propane tank. So that would service the pool in the house. And, DEP did issue some comments. They're addressed in my letter. One of them was, commission should confirm the location, mean annual high water, which may or not be the top of the bank. I provided an aerial photograph with my letter. The bank is fairly well defined, very linear-like behind the dwelling. We took the bank off of the aerial photograph. At the time of flagging, it was not accessible, but as the commission can see, for the most part, it's linear, straight as an arrow. And regardless, the entire lot's located within the 200-foot riverfront area anyhow. And DEP also suggested having a zone of natural vegetation. And again, I think the mitigation plantings that we're proposing addresses that. And I can open it up to the commission with any questions or concerns.
So when DEP was looking for additional plantings, you have the 6 shrubs, the 3 high bush blueberry and 3 common winterberry, and you think that will suffice their concerns for planting?
I think so. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to put it, that buffer behind the house with the Japanese knotweed creeping in.
Did you explain it to DEP that that's one of the reasons why you didn't put additional, vegetation in that area?
Yes, so DEP
Okay.
got a copy of my documentation, the aerial photograph. I emailed it to Matt and to DEP and sent a hard copy as well.
Is any of the knotweed starting to spread where those 6 shrubs are planted?
No, so interestingly enough, it's mainly behind the house and that vinyl picket fence.
So where it's closer to the buffer? I mean, where it's closer to the edge of the wetlands?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, wetland flag, call it 3 through 6 for 3 through 5, 3 through 6, somewhere, that
Okay.
portion of.
Yeah.
That's where it's,
One question I had was, is there any ground cover seed, seed mix that is being proposed in that area with the replantings, or?
No, but we can add a seed mix. That's not a problem, if the commission would prefer.
Defer to the commission, we can.
Jim, how much fill were you gonna be bringing in? 140 cubic yards?
Yes.
How are you gonna get that in there?
Well, I think the best approach is to go down the drainage easement to the south of the in-ground swimming pool.
And move that fence also?
Yes. Just to try and stay away from the wetland as much as possible.
What does the slope do off the property line to the south? Because you have the straw wattles across the west side, but if you're gonna be taking trucks in and out of there, that's a lot of truckloads of dirt. You're gonna be chewing up the ground there.
Right.
Which ways are gonna drain and where's the silt gonna go?
That's a good point. I didn't think of that. So what we could do is we could run the wattles up the property line so that it protects the adjacent property.
Yeah, I don't know what the slope is there, but if that would work, no matter what it is.
Okay.
And then if they tear that up, they're just gonna have to revegetate.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Any other questions,
yeah, I noticed that the proposed location or the approximate location for the proposed buried propane tank is just inside the 55-foot buffer.
Okay.
From a horizontal perspective, what's the dimension of that tank?
Honestly, I don't know.
Okay, I guess I'm a little concerned that it's in, inside the buffer where we usually do not want, permanent structures. And I'd be a little bit more comfortable if I knew the specific location, because I guess I'm also wondering why it's an approximate as opposed to being able to figure out exactly where you want it.
I think I think the homeowner wanted to get the gas company to come out and take a look at it in terms of the best location to service the house and the pool area.
Okay.
So we obviously want it towards the pool so that she can use it to heat the pool.
Okay. Yeah, because it just, right now, it's in the outer riparian zone. If it moves far enough, all of a sudden it's on the inner riparian zone, and I think.
Do you want her to have it outside of the 55? I mean, right now, it's skirting just on the inside of the 55. Do you want it pushed outside of the 55?
Um,
The
But you
55,
just said you didn't want to, we shouldn't have structures inside the 55.
yes,
And you're considering the tank a structure.
yes.
So, you know, it looks like it could just be flipped over on the other side of the line.
I think we can do that, so just for a point of reference, the 55-foot buffer on this plan is that peach color.
Yep,
So there is a little bit area between the fence for the pool and the 55-foot buffer that we can probably flip
I would
it.
like to see it there if it can be done. Yeah, thank you, Eric.
Any other questions from the commission? Questions from the audience on this application? None? Okay, so we're gonna continue this to the next meeting,
Update the,
May 11th, so everything gets updated. Matt will have, redo the orders. Motion to that effect on May 11th.
Second.
All in favor, Eric,
Yes.
Marilyn, Tim,
Yes.
Noel,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Margaret,
Yes.
Peter, yes. Okay, great, thank you. We're moving on to our 750, which is continuation of a public hearing issue order of conditions for KC Building LLC, 59 Hilder Street, 334-1788.
Good evening, everyone. Mark Slager from Allen Engineering, here on behalf of KC Building. Also with me is Russ Traywick of KC Building. Looking forward to building his new home on Hilder Street. Since our last meeting, we did make some minor modifications to the plan that was incorporated in our stormwater management plan that we submitted to the town for their review. And if Matt could pull up the latest plan. Essentially, what we've done is captured all of the roof runoff and put that into an underground infiltration system that would be in the new lawn area behind the house, upgrading of the wall. Previously, we had just anticipated sheet flow from the roof runoff going into an infiltration trench, but we figured we'd capture more of the runoff and direct it into an isolated system just for the roof runoff. We've also added a rain garden or two outside of the buffer zone. Really doesn't affect anything. There's been no changes to the limit of work, no changes to the patio pool area or whatnot. And the landscape buffer at the top of the retaining wall, we've changed that to an actual rain garden to provide better treatment for the runoff. So other than that, it's essentially the same plan. I did get a copy of a draft order of conditions, and I didn't see any issues with that, so.
Any questions on his revised plans?
It's
No,
fine.
we're fine? We're good with that? Okay, so, motion to approve the order of conditions? Or do you have any corrections?
I had a little one, in condition 48, when it talks about delineating the disturbed zone, it uses one terminology, and on the plan, it refers to conservation posts. So I sent Matt some revised wording that basically says, you know, limit of work, as shown as conservation posts on the, plan of record, so that what's in the order ties to your plan.
Okay.
Okay, motion to approve the order of conditions as amended?
Oh. I thought you were gonna add a comment.
Second?
I second it.
You did. All in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ann?
Abstain?
Margaret?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Okay, motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Peter, yes. Okay, you're good.
Okay, thank you.
want to send it to you for recording?
Leave it, he can pick it up.
Yeah, okay, after 3 tomorrow.
Okay, we're gonna move on to our 8:05, 8 o'clock, which is a public hearing for an example of 75 Tadmuck Road. That's an
Massachusetts, Under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetland bylaw, Chapter 171, the Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, April 27th, 2022, at 8 p.m. in Meeting Room 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street, to consider the request for determination of applicability application of John Natapoulos for installation of a 14 by 24-foot wooden shed within 100 feet of bordering vegetated wetlands at 75 Tadmouth Road, Assessors Map 23, Parcel 10, Lot 4.
Good evening. For the record, Matt Waterman with Land Tech Consultants. Working with Attorney Doug DeShane on this lot. He did the applications and was not able to attend tonight. So he went through the application with me tonight, and I'm hoping that the commission wouldn't mind if I presented on Doug's behalf.
Sure. Yep.
I do know, I don't know the property. I looked at it on aerial imagery. I didn't have the time to get out there tonight. But I do know the area. It's on the south side of Tadmouth Road, on the opposite side of 110. If you're heading towards South Chelmsford, it's on your right, right across from Rainsway Circle. It's an existing house. It's a hammerhead lot with a wetland up in the upper right. The house is in the middle of this plan, and then there's a pool that's sketched north of the house that I believe includes the deck area, so it looks bigger than the house. And then off to the right, they're hoping to put a wood shed. It's currently kind of a mixed use. There's some gravel, and it is certainly disturbed. I know Matt's been out there, and they kind of store some equipment there. And the goal was to put in a shed so that they could kind of put some of that equipment on the inside of the shed. It's approximately 24 by 14. It'll be on blocks. It won't have a foundation, and it'll be 63 feet away from the wetlands.
For point of clarification, it's, equipment is ATVs and snowmobiles. It's not, just heavy equipment, you know.
Yeah, but I think the thing there is we probably wouldn't want gas stored in it.
Or any kind of
And
fuel.
so that was, in speaking with Attorney DeShane this afternoon, he was, amenable to, you know, no storing of hazardous materials, including gasoline, and
Chemicals.
Holding it to catch what drips from the ATVs and everything else.
I do not.
So the flooring, does that make a difference?
It was parked outside the 55, so I think that's fine, but I think we just wouldn't want them to store the gas and
Yeah.
stuff like
In
that in
addition,
there.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And nothing goes to the other side of the driveway?
I think that is
Wooded
the
area.
below to the plan, it certainly was wooded. There would be the removal of
Trees.
more
Bit of a
lower
take.
vegetation. The existing area is there are mature trees, but it's gravel and crushed stone currently.
And with the hammerhead lot, you get 50-foot setbacks to all property lines. It's a different setback than kind of the standard, residential
Correct.
lot.
Yeah.
The
Jim?
hammerhead, you get 50 in all directions.
I think there's a problem with the distance to the wetlands for where the shed's proposed. You can't use the scale on this because the diagram's been expanded and blown up, so it's not 1 inch equals 80 feet. I don't know what the distance actually is. But if you go by, at the Hammerhead road frontage and use that 50.36 as your 50
He
foot.
measured it.
I pulled tape. It's 63 feet is, well, the plan does show, I had the same concern when I met with Doug, but pulling tape from the edge of the wetland, 63 feet
It
is.
will be placed 60, because the
Yeah, and that was
diagram
another condition of approval I was gonna recommend was.
diagram shows it about 25 feet from the wetland.
Shall be placed no closer than
Okay.
63
Good-
feet.
Good enough for me.
And if Doug was here, he would claim that he is not a good person to draw a sketch. I can assure you, that would be his comment.
He's a lawyer, not an engineer.
He would, I've heard him say it before, so I can vouch for him on that one.
63 feet from the wetlands would be good. If you want to turn it sideways, parallel with the wetland, that'd be fine too, but,
Yep, no closer than 63.
Good, good.
That'll be the draft.
okay.
Other than that, I don't have any problems with
Okay,
this.
this is an IDA, so we can approve this tonight with conditions.
Okay.
Okay?
So you're looking for a motion for a conditional negative determination?
Yeah, and Matt, you've got what you
With
gotta put in
the,
it?
yep.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor, Herrick,
yes.
Marilyn,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Noel,
Yes.
Ian,
Yes.
Margaret,
Yes,
and Peter, yes. Motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
And Peter, yes.
Thank you very much.
All right, Matt, thank you for doing this.
Get a good night's sleep, Matt.
I know, thanks. My brain will be cranking for a little while.
There you go.
All right, that's good. Okay, moving on to our 805, which is a continuation of a public hearing, issue order of conditions for Sacknowitz, Broderick, Alexander Fellows, Forge Pond, Bethick Matt at 14 Pleasant Street, 28 Green Needles Road, and 2 Fellows Lane, 334-1795.
Hi.
Welcome, gentlemen.
I'm David Barr. I'm a member of Forge Pond, Friends of Forge Pond, which is a representative for the project. I'm joined by Mike Broderick, Jeffrey Sacknowitz, and Mark Fellows, who are the participants, the applicants for the project. You had asked us to be specific about what we were planning to do at the different sites, and we provided information about what each of the participants is planning to do, both in the, trying to do this pilot project both in, across the lake, so it's partly in Westford, partly in Littleton. We sent Matt the information about what we're planning to do in both parts of the lake. In Westford, it turns out that all three participants are planning to use commercial benthic mats from the group called Lake Bottom Blanket. That's a company. And on the Littleton side, 3 participants are planning to use burlap mats, and 1 participant is planning to use off-the-shelf polyethylene tarps. Matt sent us a couple days ago a draft order of conditions that we've looked at and we don't see any problem with.
Okay, questions from the commission? Yep.
One about the order of conditions. This is great. This is what the kind of stuff we were looking for
Yeah,
last
exactly.
meeting. But the order of conditions kind of leaves it wide open again. But you do reference receipt of this document.
He does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, on the first page under the findings, where it's talking about, participants will determine how long to leave the mat in place at their site. It's gonna all be in accordance with the document provided April 22nd.
Yeah,
The addendum.
I can include
Good.
additional language
Just
to,
point to that
you know,
document.
in, the first year shall be in accordance with this addendum.
Yep. Their document provides all the stuff that we were looking for.
Okay.
So can I have a motion to, Margaret?
So Matt, is it PVP or PVC?
It's PVC, those are typos.
And what is the
PVC pips?
Yeah, I don't even, what are PVC pips?
Yeah.
Is it a typo? I don't know.
PVC pipes.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, it's
pipes,
PVC
that would make
pipes,
sense.
Everybody seeds in the oranges.
And the fishing too. It's just a typo in that paragraph.
Well, the people that are fishing are
Right.
fishing.
Exactly.
The fisher is
Okay.
fishing.
You need a motion?
Yeah, I need a motion to approve the order of conditions.
So moved.
Second.
All in
As
favor,
amended?
Eric?
As we're
Yes.
amending it or whatever?
Marilyn?
Yes.
Jim?
This is as amended, right?
As amended, right?
Yes, aye.
Noel?
Yeah.
Ian?
Abstain.
Margaret?
Yes.
Peter, yes. Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor, Eric?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ian? Margaret?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Thanks, guys, you're all set.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Appreciate it.
It's going in pretty soon, huh?
Thanks for making this easy.
So I have a question.
Yeah,
When we register the order of conditions,
yeah.
does that need to be done for each of the individual sites?
I'll talk with you about that, because I was having that same thought this afternoon, and
All right,
it may just be best to call the registry
Yeah,
itself.
Registry.
All right,
All right,
thank you very much.
okay.
Okay, good luck.
Bye.
Moving on to our 810, which is continuation of a public hearing, Crisano, 85 Cowell Road, 2 Annameric Way, and 3 Annameric Way, 334-1790.
How are you?
Very good, man.
Hey, Jeff. Okay, go ahead.
My name is Jeff Brem with Miser Brem Corporation, covering for Ian tonight. And here we have Don Cusano. There's two of them, Don and Lauren, and I got Don Cusano. He has bought, as you may recall, the minor property off across from Jack Walsh Fields. It's called Anne Marique Way. It was the old Maggie Queenan house. That has sat fallow for over a decade now, and he's gonna bring it back to life. And so you saw a plan showing 3 lots on a road. I don't know, Matt, if you're gonna bring it up. And you asked for some changes to be made, so let me go through those changes with you. First of all, we added concrete bounds, 2-foot reveal every 50 feet or less along the entire limit of work for all 3 lots. You can see those bounds on their plan. There's a big box in the upper left that it describes them. In between the lots is an open space parcel, and it needed to be confirmed whether the town owns it. And according to the assessor's records, you can go online, there it is. It is owned by the Town of Westford Conservation Commission. So that has been processed. We are going to planning board, as you may or may not know. It was supposed to be May 2nd, but they continued us to May 16th. And they're gonna redo some of those permits as well, that has to do with that open space. We labeled the drainage easement on the open space parcel and on lot 3. We moved the limit of work for lots 2 and 3 further from the wetland. Those are, you can see we just moved, we had work in the buffer zone beyond that, yeah, and we moved it back for both of those lots. We clarified that all 3 wells are in fact existing. And we got a letter, and that's how Matt started it, we got a letter from Natural Heritage for file 3341790 that says we will not adversely affect the state protected habitat or wildlife area, and we do not need to file MISA because it will not result in a prohibited take. That letter came in. I think we've caught up to everything that you asked us to do.
Yep.
And I think we're in that chicken egg thing with planning board, so.
Right.
So you're good with us, but we gotta wait for planning board.
Jim?
I have one suggestion between, now I'm lost,
Oh,
between
sorry.
lots 1 and 2.
Okay, going back.
Yeah, there's not a fantastic.
Oh, right there, that's
amount.
good. Has to do with the monuments. I know you're trying to do it every 50 feet, and these are every 50 feet, but there'd be a misunderstanding, I'm sure, between this marker, which is on the boundary for lot 1.
Yeah.
This one, that looks to me, if you were the person living here, you'd think, oh, this is our line back here. So I think since this is the line, and this is gonna be a very, very close one, I would like a marker, a monument of some sort at the midpoint on that segment.
All right. It's awful close to the house.
That's your limit of work, and it's it's very close.
Yeah.
That's why I think that part's just gonna end up getting ignored unless it's marked.
Matt, can you add that as a condition of approval?
I certainly can.
Assuming it's gonna get approved. So.
Any other questions from the commission? Vice plan?
So I presume you wanna wait for planning board?
Well, we generally, like to, I mean, it's up to you. You wanna take the risk that something changes and you gotta reopen?
The difference with this is the basin's all in.
Yeah.
It's
I know.
completely been accepted. The work that we have to do for planning board is outside the buffer zone, but it's reclaiming the roadway, which is probably ripping all the
So when do you meet
pavement up.
before them next?
What's that?
I mean, what do you think
May
would be done?
16th.
And when's our next?
May 11th.
Yeah, May
May
11th.
11th and the
then
25th.
25th.
He's not
And
worried.
they wanna get going, so.
Yeah, if he's not worried.
Hey, if he's
I'm
not worried,
good
I'll,
with
He's not
taking
worried,
the
I'll go
gamble,
with it.
so.
Okay.
We'll do May 11th.
But I don't wanna step on anybody's toes.
That's definitely.
Emily, you have some questions from the audience? Okay, come on up to the microphone.
Oh, you need me to move, Emily?
Emily Teller, 9 Texas Road. I appreciate your mentioning that you heard from National Heritage. That was one of my questions.
Yep.
And let's see. during construction, I think the conscom said that the proponent will supply an on-site office manager and supervising engineer. That's part of your boilerplate, right? Didn't you say that last time we were here, or can you require that as part of the conditions?
There's a standard condition of a special condition related to that effect.
So that will be there.
Yeah, there's, an emergency contact, and that's typically also carried through with planning board decisions and stormwater management, again, in the event something is happening.
Okay.
I'm sorry if I can, it relates to the pre-construction conference that we always have.
Okay.
And for some reason, we have it in this room and not out in the field. Every other town does it out in the field, but here, we have it here, so.
And I was wondering if I know you were going to do a site visit after the last meeting. Can you report on that at all, so that the public knows if you?
Do a site visit.
I don't think we did.
Not for this site.
I asked.
I mean, we were down there before when this was originally approved, so we've been all through
Right.
that area, so.
I may have asked the commission if they wanted to set up a site visit, but I don't recall.
I don't remember us saying that we wanted
I
to.
don't think we have a need to.
Okay. I'm just mostly concerned about, that the work down the hill is no longer down the hill, that it's at the top of the hill. And I guess that's what that looks like, right? I can't tell from topo information.
Right, I mean, now they're proposed, the top of originally the erosion controls were proposed at the bottom of the basin.
Right.
And since they aren't doing any work down there, I thought it'd be best to relocate them, and to which the project proponents have agreed, and, as shown, and also there's monumentation being installed.
So that's that line with the slashes on it?
Yes, this is the erosion control line at the top of the.
At the
and
top of the
there's
slope,
some
basically.
grayed out.
And is
slope.
that all that the owner will deal with in terms of, grass or landscaping or anything like that? Does all that have to stay within that erosion control line?
He's not working outside of it.
Right.
Yeah, there's a limit of, those boxes are the.
Yeah.
Is the limit of work.
But it's also the limit of disturbance, so even after the site's completed, there's no clearing beyond it.
Okay, and so I know that was gonna go on the deed in perpetuity with the restriction, and then also mowing only once between October 15th and May 1st. I'm just going through my notes from the last meeting.
So
So
that
just
was, that was related to the riverfront area and the natural heritage comments from the original filing in whatever.
So that's still,
Yeah, and.
still
I mean,
applicable?
The new natural heritage comments don't, as proposed, they're not, there's no, they don't have any supplemental conditions, to
Their
avoid.
plan says that's what they're gonna do, though.
Yeah.
Right, if that's, we
in
can
the
certainly
order.
make sure that that's an order that gets tied in, so.
Okay. Let me just see, I think I have a couple other ones. And will there be signs too, as well as the things, because I remember over on Griffin Road, you talked about signs as well as the markings on the ground.
Yep, so they have permanent limit of disturbance monuments, oh, that's kinda fuzzy. Yeah, let's make it a little bit bigger. 4x4 concrete bounds, 24 exposed, no more than, and that'll be included in the, order of conditions and also the certificate of compliance.
So
That'll
there'll be 4x4 things in the ground that will say
No,
that?
4-inch by 4-inch.
Oh, and-
Concrete post.
Post.
And,
Which we do all the time.
right, and so that'll say no disturbance past there, or?
Say, depends.
Yeah, I don't
Something's
see, I don't think you're listed, I think it's just
Understood, and
bounds
that's
that
in
will
the-
be.
that's
But
in here anyway.
if I may, in this case, the proponents are all gonna live there, so you have.
In
the-
one lot?
In two of the lots.
Okay.
Oh,
One
just one
lot,
lot,
yeah,
I'm
one
sorry.
lot. Okay, I just worry about people moving in and,
Oh, we do
Not
have,
yet.
we
It'll be
do,
in the deed. It
well,
will
we
have-
do have the signs. We did do signs up when Carol was here.
Yeah, we could
Yeah,
put signs
but
on the concrete.
on
Yeah.
concrete.
So we can have signs on the concrete.
okay,
Signs
that would be
up.
good, thank you.
Small signs.
Lot 3, okay, I think that's all. Report, okay. That's good,
We're good?
thank you, yeah, thank you very
Evelyn.
much.
Yeah. Okay, so you want us to, next meeting, issue the order?
That'd be great.
So can I continue this to May 11th?
So move.
Second,
All in favor? Eric?
yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Okay,
Thank
see
you
you in a
all.
couple weeks. Okay, moving on to our next agenda item, which is appointment with Chestnut Hill Estate trustees regarding land maintenance guidance for CR number 49. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Michael O'Hare, Chestnut Hill Estates. Yep. Here a couple weeks ago. We took your feedback. Matt and I met. Matt, I have to help out with all the regulatory language that he added into this, so I appreciate that part. Some of the items that you had some objections with, we removed from the document, the burning and the trimming up for the vista. Other than that, I think we're ready, for
We good?
the other feedback you might have.
Yep, we're all
We're
good.
able to add the non-native plantless species list for Massachusetts as a active link, so if they do have, they'll be able to send it out and people can click on it.
They
so.
can choose from that.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
That's what we needed.
And thanks for expediting this.
Yeah,
Not a problem.
okay.
So we need to,
Let's just approve this
yeah, let's approve it.
guidance.
So moved.
Okay.
Second,
All in favor, Eric?
yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Great, we're all set. Thank you.
Very much.
Yep.
Very much.
Did the minutes. Okay, we're moving on to our
8:15.
8:15. Continuing public hearing, issue order conditions for Sudbury Valley trustees in town of Westford, 18 Rose Road, Lot 2. Footbridge.
Requesting a continuance without discussion to the May 11th meeting, as
Okay.
plans are still being prepared and comments from DEP will be responded to.
Oh, they will, good, okay. Motion?
Second,
All in favor? Eric?
yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Okay, that leads us to the minor modification request, Mass DEP 334-1683, Chisholm 5, Tingsboro Road. Jeff Hannaford's here.
Good evening.
Evening.
I don't know how good your memories are, but going back about 4 years, 4.5 years.
Oh, it's been that long.
It's been that long for that
Jeez,
lot? My
yeah.
God, we remember the lot. So
I
what
know.
are we doing on the lot?
On the site visit we did, we were reviewing trees to be cut.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember
When we
that.
got to the edge of the pond, there was one just to the right of our access. And it's the type of tree with a main trunk that goes up about 8 feet and splits into 2 main limbs. And at the time, the one side, the left side leaning over the lake, was obviously dead. The other was pointed out that it could still possibly be alive.
Right, I remember.
And rather than remove the whole thing, we were asked if we could just take the left side limb. Recently, we had a tree service in, and we're discussing tree removal of the other trees, most outside the buffer zone. But when it got to that one, the arborist looked at it and he said, I can take the one limb, but he said, honestly, the entire tree is dead. And it's much more obvious now than it was 4 years ago. So when I discussed it with Matt, it was suggested that we get a letter certifying that from the arborist before we do anything. Matt has gone out and taken some photos of it to confirm it. The trees we want to have removed are basically the ones that we would discuss that were right on the edge of the buffer zone, that were compromised by the bittersweet intrusion that we had there, that are obviously dead. In order to take those, we are going to have a crane in there. So my thoughts were, if we're going to pay to have the crane there, they could take that tree on the edge of the pond, with the crane being just outside the buffer zone, and won't have to have anybody in there causing any disturbance. So that's what the modification is about.
I don't have any trouble with this.
Okay.
Approved.
Well, the tree's dead, it's dead, so what are you gonna do? guess the only,
You know,
the only thing
typically-
is, we like to leave the tree.
Typically, we would have somebody drop this in the buffer, but in this particular instance, I could see where we'd have them remove it.
Yeah. It's
I
gonna
would
go in
just
the lake
have them
anyways.
replace the
Yeah,
tree with
plant
another
another
tree in the
trees.
buffer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
that-
no
that
problem.
works.
And-
Cut one plant.
But typically, I would say
Yeah.
no, but in this instance,
Yeah.
I would say yes.
Or sometimes what we've done is, like, recently we've said, you know, cut it, and I think leave like the
Leave
10 or,
some.
the bottom 10, 15 feet just as habitat and stuff, but I don't know if right
I'd
by the
rather
lake
see a
we
new
wanna do
tree.
that.
Yeah, it's gonna go in the
Rather
lake.
see a new tree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Were you able to get rid of most of that bittersweet? I mean, it was loaded with bittersweet.
What's that?
Were you able to get rid of most of the bittersweet on there?
I would say we probably eliminated about 80%.
That much, huh? 'Cause
Yeah.
You had a ton of it.
Yeah.
All over
What's really hurt from getting even further is the location of our well. There's a lot of it within 50 feet of the well, and they can't apply the herbicide within 50. So the only way is pulling.
Yeah,
Yeah, so,
That's an awful job.
It's years.
there's plenty of it.
And probably nobody volunteering to do it.
Okay, so can we approve this as a minor modification to the
So
plan?
moved.
Second,
All in favor? Eric?
yes.
Marilyn?
Yes,
Jim?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Margaret?
yes.
Peter, yes.
thank you very much.
Okay, Jeff, you're good. So,
how's it
is
going?
that it?
That's it.
That's everything.
Not bad. Good, fast meeting.
So can you have a motion to close the public hearing?
Yes, please.
Moved.
Second,
All in favor? Eric?
yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Well, okay.
Margaret?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Open door, very light. She's just keeps
You know,
testing positive.
Andrea's
Is there anything, I didn't know anybody until
Oh.
today.
You got everything? You got-
Friends of Forge Pond.
Wait a minute, we got one more.
One more, I
Just
slacking.
say I
Dan
could,
has it.
And
From finance.
I could scan them. Oh. And then give you the copies if you'd like.
Dan O'Donnell. And then
I can
my favorite
email you
guy,
the
Steve.
scan.
My computer, that's the,
Okay.
and 78 children were actually.
Here you go. Last one.
Last one.
First two pages,
There's
as
an email that
always.
came out by Ray Dick this afternoon saying that there were hundreds of cases.
My second.
We're done, but we're on air.
Same here, but you know, they're saying it's good for a couple
That
of
may
weeks.
just
Well, I think I'm with Bob, and I'm gonna give it to him.